Dajahao, Barrie here, Best China Info. This is kind of urgent because it's a bombshell, a smoking gun, if you like. This was brought to my attention by a dear friend and comrade, Angelo Giuliano, and this is from 2015. I'm just going to play this and give you a commentary to explain, and hopefully explain what the significance and the implications of this are, okay? So we have two people here speaking in a kind of a conference. We have Erkin Alpterin. I'll explain who this guy is, okay? This guy here, Erkin Alptekin, he's Uyghur, apparently. He's in Germany. He got a job at Radio Free Europe, which I guess is connected to Radio Free Asia, CIA. He became an advisor to the CIA. Oh, now there you go. Okay. So his connections are quite clear, who he's connected to and with, and probably who pays him for various things. Now this Erkin guy, Erkin Alptekin, clearly, okay, now this is Wikipedia, okay? Now Wikipedia are generally edited and re-edited and censored in favor of the MIC. Okay, so let's be clear that even they are saying Radio Free Europe, he became an advisor to the CIA, okay? So we understand who this person is a little, enough, and where he's coming from and what his agenda might be. CIA involvement, okay. And he was very heavily involved in the formation of this World Uyghur Congress, who are quite clearly a pretend government in exile, or as I say, they are basically trying to push for separatism for Uyghurs, some Uyghurs in Xinjiang. Here he is, a chief advisor now, but he was one of the people, he was a former president of the World Uyghur Congress. Now, the other guy we're going to listen to a little is this guy, Lobsang Sangay. Okay, this guy here, who, according to Wikipedia, is a Tibetan American politician who is the Sikyong, the president of the Tibetan government in exile, officially known as the Central Tibetan Administration by the USA, not by anybody else. He's held the position since 2012 and previously served with blah, blah, Mr. Lama, and who appointed him as the president in exile. Okay, so now this guy is kind of the highest leader of these so-called exiled Tibetan, whatever they are, movement. So that's who this guy is. So you can see how they're connected and who they're connected to. He studied international law, democracy at Harvard. He holds American citizenship. He's an American. Okay, so these are the two main figures here. This Erkin and Lobsang, okay? And we know what the connections are. The World Uyghur Congress. Okay, so let's have a listen to this video. Here we go.
And that's why we have a proverb, yat ölgünce at öl. Instead of dying in a bed, I'm going to die anyway by through an assimilation process. So why don't I stand up and die like a hero instead of dying in bed like a coward? This is the mentality. Chinese policy had brought the Uyghur into such a position, they are revolting all over at the moment.
So the Uyghurs are revolting all over, he said.
All over. It is sad, it is bad. We preach non-violence here abroad, at home, because as a result of China's policy, the Uyghurs, in their frustration, they are now on what we call a warpath with the Chinese, whatever they get. So that is the situation going on every day now.
So he's stating here quite clearly that the Uyghurs are on a warpath with the Chinese, okay? They're on a warpath with the Chinese. He said they preach peace, but at home in Xinjiang, they're on a warpath with China, okay? Very clearly stated. That's what he's saying, okay? Let's continue.
What could happen? In Eastern Turkestan, according to Chinese scholars, they say If in Eastern Turkestan a major revolt breaks out, because the Uyghurs are Muslims, like in the case of Afghanistan, like in the case of Mali, Libya, Syria, Iraq, many Muslims, Mujaheddins or international terrorists can come and what we call come to assist the Uyghurs to fight against Chinese.
Right. So again, it's very clear what he's saying. He's comparing Iraq, Libya, Syria, Mali, wherever, and because these people are Muslim, and that some of the population of Xinjiang are Muslim, that all these foreign fighters, these terrorists or Mujaheddin, as he's quoted here, are going to come or should come, or he's inviting them to come to Xinjiang and fight against the Chinese. So let's be absolutely clear what this is. This is a declaration of war. I'm going to call it out for what it is. It's a declaration of war. This is your smoking gun 2015. Okay, so all this smokescreen about a supposed suppression or oppression of Uyghur people or some Uyghur people, which is actually what China's doing, is trying to stop terrorism, stop Chinese citizens of all types and denominations from being killed and maimed. There's a reason for this, and the West is portraying it, and it's a smokescreen the way the West is portraying it. And the smokescreen is to cover a smoking gun. And the smoking gun is this, which is a declaration of war against China via Xinjiang and whichever Muslim radicalized terrorists or fighters they can embroil in their machinations against China. So this has been going on since actually before 2015. This is documented as a CIA plan. We know he's connected to the CIA, the NED. We know he's an American citizen, and they're in up to their neck. Let's continue. Oops.
So, and then they say Uyghurs are related to the peoples of Central Asia. If a major uprising breaks out, like in the 30s and 40s, it happened in 1930s and 30s, thousands of tens of thousands of Uyghurs, Kazakh, Kyrgyz, Uzbek, they came to Eastern Turkestan to help their brothers on the other side of the border. That could happen. When I go to Central Asian republics, they say, Erken, we have a problem. I say, yes. If something like that happens, without our will, against our will, we will be in a terrible conflict with China. I say, yeah, that could be. That could be. And the best way is you have good friendly relations with China. Why don't you tell them to change their policy in Uzbekistan? Start a dialogue, with the Chinese to pacify the Uyghurs for the time being. And Central Asia, I'm afraid in such a case, it could spread into Tibet, Mongolia. I have several examples at home. 1 year in Tibet, 2nd year in Eastern Turkestan, revolts broke out. You may know that, some of you. It happened very often that it influenced each other at that moment. So China's policies at the moment, unfortunately, is not pacifying the situation, but unfortunately, like throwing gas into a fire or something like that.
Yes. Now we'll have questions from the audience.
Okay, so what this guy's saying quite clearly is it's a declaration of war. It's an invite to Mujaheddin, or foreign fighters, terrorists, separatists, Islamic fundamentalists, radicalized whatever, to come and join in a fight against China via Xinjiang. And he mentions Syria, he mentions Iraq, he mentions Mali. Later in this video, they're talking about Afghanistan and Turkey. And I'm just going to show you one more thing, just so you know my maxim, which is follow the money. And let's just have a listen to this one more little bit here.
give the right to the people to decide whatever they want to when the time arises. So that is the main point that we should be worried about. In case fell apart, what are we going to do? How are we going to handle the situation? Russia fell apart. Nobody was prepared. Nobody was prepared, and they suddenly broke up. And then it took about a couple of years until they developed their policies. Even the Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Central Asian republics were hesitant to declare their independence when Soviet Union did not exist. So we in radio, we broadcast and said, why don't you guys declare your independence, you know? So we should be prepared, not too much about, I gave you an example yesterday, saying that many people are now running after us and saying that, hey, look, you have oil, gas, and all of that. How are we going to do that? They are helping me because in case Eastern Turkestan becomes an independent country, how they would benefit from my oil and gas. That's
my oil.
Oil companies being contacted, Mr. Yes.
My oil. So this guy who's not even Chinese, he's not born in China, he's in Germany, he's working with the CIA and the NED. He's calling the oil and gas that might be in Xinjiang his oil. And this guy, an American citizen, is saying, yeah, the oil and the gas companies are contacting him. Look, they're both smiling. They're already rubbing their hands under the table at how much money, and he's smiling too, look. They're already rubbing their hands with glee at how much money they're going to be given for promising the oil and gas reserves in Xinjiang to foreign, and we must presume Western, American, European oil and gas companies to extract once they free, once they liberate Xinjiang, of course, like they've done in Iraq or they tried to do in Syria before Russia stopped them. So there's the story, okay? There's the story. It's a declaration of war by these idiots here. And they're smiling about how much money they're going to make out of the oil companies who have already approached them. Clearly, in their own words, they've said this. They've said the oil and the gas companies have come to us asking about our oil. Our oil. He's saying it's their oil, okay? Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, so I am sorry, I have to say this. Okay, right. I'm gonna confer now with my colleagues and comrades, and we're going to discuss this in detail. Okay, this is a big one. This is the smoking gun. Through the smoke screen to the smoking gun, and here it is. Okay, we're live. So welcome, Brian Berletic and Angelo Giuliano. This is our first live stream from using StreamYard, and we're talking today about this bombshell video that Angelo has turned up. And so, Angelo, I'm sure that some people will have seen this already now. Can you explain what you were looking for and how this suddenly hit you?
So I've been working like all night long. You know, basically what we are trying to do is to debunk all the fake news about Xinjiang. So basically it's about finding evidence about the funding and the motives of this movement. And I was looking